All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into a little bit of an Italy recap. I am finally back from my trip. This is obviously out, weeks later at least, but I'm back from my trip and able to record post-trip to give you the recap that you all been not waiting for probably. I got a couple of LPDS current events that I want to get into, and then we got a nice little cage fact for you guys. So all that's coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, the show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything, and we have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. I am coming off of a reset week, resettling week. I don't know the term to call it exactly, but I'm just getting back from Euro Trip 2025 with Wet Cat and Mrs. Wet Cat, and I spent the whole week, feeling it more so mentally than anything else because I didn't want to come back. But we'll get into all that at the Junction. Otherwise, it was a pretty okay week. Nothing else really extraordinary to talk about per se. I will say this, sort of a potentially bad update. We don't know for sure yet, but it's not looking great. The prognosis is not great right now. But my tomato plants are in a bit of a rough situation since coming back from the trip. The automatic watering how you doing didn't really work as effectively as needed for tomato plants, and several of them are dead. Can't resuscitate. Did whatever I could, they're gone. And then there's still a few that are, I would say, just above life support. But they were certainly on life support when I first got back. So we're working through that. The peppers are fine. They can handle it. I don't know how, but they can, and they're doing just fine. They're thriving. I should be putting the plants in the ground this week. Some of them, I'm really taking a chance, but I feel like being in the ground where they can grow, the roots can grow more, can grow further, and get deeper into the ground as opposed to a smaller pot. I think that could be, the saving grace for some of these, but the jury's still out. What I don't want to do is have to go to a garden center and get plants, whatever they have left in the tomato category. A, they're probably not going to have the type of tomatoes I want, and B, sometimes you have to sit in your failures. I don't want to, maybe I'll put them aside, a little asterisk next to them and say like, hey, I really just wanted tomatoes. So I got these, but these are the pride and joy. I don't know. But sometimes you have to sit in your failures and work to grow another day. Work to harvest another day. So we'll see how it turns out. Last year, we thought we were dead on arrival with the tomatoes. Plants were growing big, out of control big. 0 tomatoes until December, until 3 days before Christmas, mind you, in December. And we got the biggest tomato haul I've seen on this side of the Rio Grande. So anything's possible. I'm not giving up. I'm certainly not giving up. The only thing I'm debating is whether I want to augment the garden with some, you know, the PEDs of the plant world, pre-grown plants, not seeds. We'll see. Probably not, but I'm not opposed to it either. So, unfortunately, that's a tomato update for all those interested. I am pretty confident that we're going to get a ton of peppers again. Awesome. We'll see how the tomatoes ride out the rest of the season. We're in June, by the way, and these plants are still by no means really ready to go into the ground. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong in that regard. I guess I just have to start even earlier. I guess I have to start planting seeds right as I'm pulling the old plants out of the ground Christmas time. I don't know, but we'll figure it out, I guess. Anyway, there's not really that much else going on that I want to talk about. Apparently, during my trip, we missed a protest in Houston. They had a No Kings protest. Don't know what that was about. Sounds like some buzzword the media told people to be up in arms about. I have no particular opinion about it. It seemed like a big deal for the people involved. Good for them. I will say this though, doesn't I don't get protests anymore. I didn't necessarily get them back in the day, but I am not opposed to people exercising their right of free speech and assembly, peaceful assembly, if they feel that there's going to be some sort of a positive impact towards their cause. Go for it. Whatever you want to do, I'm here for it. And I do know that, certain protests, certain assemblies, if you will, did have positive impact on our country back in the day. There was some violence and rioting and immaturity, I'll say, back then, but it didn't seem to be nearly as much. Maybe it was, and it just wasn't covered as much. I don't know. But I don't get protests anymore. They have no positive impact. I haven't seen a positive impact from a protest or a rally or anything in my entire life. That's a short life so far, comparatively. But I haven't seen one make any positive impact whatsoever. All it seems to do is cause chaos and riot. There's a lot of negative impacts because this day and age, most of the people protesting don't have the mental fortitude to peacefully protest without it getting out of hand and violent. And I'm not here to make the argument between, well, the town and the cops actually incited the rioting and they're just defending. I'm not here to do that. All I know is I'm looking at outcomes. The outcome of the vast majority of protests these days ends in violence, ends in rioting, ends in chaos and looting, ends in that local area having to pick up the pieces. So I just don't get that. People get hurt. Nothing gets done positively. So I just don't understand the point anymore. I don't think they should be shut down. Protest, go for it. Do what you want. I'm here for that. I'm here to support that. But there's really not, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that important to me to where I've exhausted all other actions or efforts to where I think the protest is the last stand. There is nothing that you can say to me that's going to be like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go join this rally. Not even like a hot chick. I don't even think Marissa Tomei can get me to go to a rally or a protest. No thanks. I'm not interested. To me, there are a billion other things that I could do with my time that are better and more positive and meaningful to me and a better use of my time. I'd rather sit on the toilet pushing out a tough post like cheese and rice binge dumpy for 4 hours where my legs fall asleep and I get the tinglies in my legs, the pins and needles. I'd rather do that and deal with that, sweat that out on the toilet than go to do a protest or a rally. I could be doing anything else with my life and enjoy myself more than there is not one thing I can think of that I feel that strongly about. And there's no other option to make a positive effect on that particular topic than go to a rally. There's no chance. Zero. They do nothing. All they do is they cause chaos in their wake, pain for people, physical, mental, emotional pain for people, and then raising your tax dollars so that the local area can rebuild. So have fun with that, I guess. Like, again, I'm not judging people who want to go do that. I just don't see, like, okay, like, there's a lot of things I do that there's no point to. So that's why I don't judge. Like I said, taking a 4-hour dumpy, not practical. There's no point to that. Sitting on the couch, staring at the ceiling, no point to that. I'll do that over a protest. So I don't judge the people for going to do that. I'm just don't expect me to ever do that. No thanks. Hey, you want to go to a rally with me? No. You don't even hear the cause. I don't. There is no cause worth that. There is no cause. Not one. They're burning Nicolas Cage DVDs. Still no. I got them all saved. Soft copy. Multiple copies. The Nicolas Cage archive is not dying at this rally. Like if we go, this, I'm fine. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that I feel that strongly about where I think a rally is going to do anything about, like, positive for that. Nothing. There are so many other things you could do to affect positive change for your cause than standing outside with a bunch of other people screaming and yelling and writing posters and getting tear gassed eventually if you stay out there long enough. No thanks, I'm good. So thank God I missed that, because it sounded like it would have been a traffic nightmare, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of the other stuff I would have rather have done than go to a rally because of the rally. So I got stuck in a rally parade. Well, when I was living in D.C. and I was running around the National Mall, there was rallies every weekend. People out there doing what have you, God knows what. There's always a rally when Trumpy Bear is in office. For some reason, there's a lot more rallies. I saw zero in D.C. when I was there, when Joey B was around. It was strange. But I ran through this parade. It was a full parade. It was the everything protest. I don't know what the parade was called. I don't know what the event was called. But it was literally every topic or cause that you can think of. There was a gay group. There was all the different ethnic groups had their own crews, not floats, but they had their own little groupings and posters and people, parading around. It was like when you paraded for your sports team at the beginning of the rec league season or whatever. Each team had their own section of the parade. They didn't have floats necessarily, but they just walked in groups. That's what it was. It was a grouping of every problem, every cause, everything that people would normally protest these days. It had all of it. And it was blocks long, and I kept getting stuck in it, trying to run. I had a 20-mile training run that day. I'll never forget it. And it was on and off with the misting of the raining. Not terrible. Certainly not enough to stop the parade. And just when I thought I cleared the route, I figure a parade just goes straight on the main route. but they kept zigging and zagging in and out of all these crossroads, and I kept getting stuck in another group, and I had to pretend to be pro whatever group it was. So it's just, I'd rather run 20 miles in the rain than do a rally. Not for me. Anyway, glad I missed it. Uh, Moving on. That's all I got to say about that. We got to talk about the Yankees really quick. They stink lately. I'm not here to talk about how much they stink. I'm here to extend an empathetic hand to Anthony Volpe on the Yankees. Now, why do I say that? When I don't, I'm trying not to be as negative about the Yankees as I usually am, because I do like them. I do want them to win, but they're a poopy right now, as we predicted. So that's why I'm not so mad about it. It's expected. But I have to extend empathy towards Anthony Volpe. He just recently broke what was thought to be an unbreakable record once held by Chris Crush Davis of the Baltimore Orioles. He actually broke it against the Orioles the last couple games. He broke the streak of most consecutive at-bats without a hit. I think he's like 0 for 53 with maybe a couple walks, sac flies or something. 0 for 53. 53 at-bats in a row without a hit. Real quick, just to show you how impressive Joe DiMaggio's hit streak is. To not hit, like, you fail 70% of the time at the plate in Major League Baseball, and that's a Hall of Fame career. You're batting 300. That's a Hall of Fame career. 70% of the time. To get a slump record, a non-hit streak, right? All you have to do is stand at the plate, and do nothing. And the odds are heavily in favor of you not getting a hit. Yet the record up until this point has only been 53 at bats, which is not even consecutive. That's not even 50 games. You know, he's got 3-4 at bats a game. So do the quick math. What is that? 17 games, 16, 17 games, something like that. Joe DiMaggio got a hit in 56 straight games. So I give props to Joey D. But Anthony Volpe, I feel bad for him, not because, you know, he just broke this record and it's sad. I feel bad because he's going to catch heat from people who expected him to be the next Derek Jeter because of what we've been talking about for the last couple years now, is this undue, unnecessary, ridiculous expectation that he's the next Jeter. It was going to come back to bite him in the ass eventually. It was inevitable, and it's going to come back now because Derek Jeter wouldn't be caught dead going 0 for 53. It's not even. He might have not have gone 0 for 10 before. Like, 0 for 53 is absurd. It's a record breaker in the history of baseball. Okay, and they were comparing this guy to Jeter, and he didn't want it. He didn't deserve that, and he knew it. He didn't want that. He didn't deserve that kind of pressure, and they put it on him, and he's folding like a plastic Solo cup inside a hydraulic press. Also, he uses the torpedo bat. Remember when they tested the MIT, these scientists, these four-eyed pocket protector freaks came in and said, oh, this is going to solve it because he gets jammed all the time, so this is going to put the sweet spot of the bat a little bit closer to where he actually hits it because we're going to hide the fact that he stinks and this and that. Remember, they specifically tested it off of Volpe's numbies and analytics. And he is now doing exponentially worse with that bat. So, one proof positive. It's not the bat, like we said it. It's not the bat that makes you good or bad. It's not the tools. You give a good contractor any hammer, he's going to be able to figure out how to build a table. So it's not the tool. In fact, it's probably making him worse because the sweet spot is not in the traditional spot where he probably grew up learning how to hit. But I feel for him. Not just because of the pressure, because that's tough. He's been compared to Derek Jeter since he put on pinstripes, and it's not fair to him. He didn't ask for it. He didn't say he was. He wasn't like that clown Tim Anderson from the White Sox and whatever other team he got bounced around to, who claimed to be the modern-day Jackie Robinson, and that guy sucks. He couldn't have disrespected Jackie Robinson more by his poor play and how bad he is and how weak he is. I think he got released. I don't even know if he's playing right now. Guy stunk. And and Donaldson caught so much shit for making fun of him for that. They tried to call him racist because he called him Jackie, but really he was only responding to Tim Anderson claiming he was Jackie Robinson. And he was making a joke because he was saying, like, it was sarcastic. You stink, yet you're calling yourself the next Jackie Robinson. You're a clown because you stink. And Jackie Robinson was an incredible ball player who had to deal with serious adversity. That's what he was making fun of. And he caught shit for it. He had to go do his forceful apology tour. And that guy's out there claiming he's the next Jackie Robinson. Volpe never claimed to be the next Derek Jeter. They put that on him. Cashin put that on him. Hal put that on him. All the announcers and analysts all over the world put that on him. The fans are putting that on him now. Poor kid just wants to play baseball. He should have been a second baseman. He should have stayed in the minor leagues at least another year. And now, I mean, in just 2 years, 2 full seasons, broke the record for the worst batting. So I feel for him for that. I almost want him to get traded so that he doesn't have to deal with this anymore. He could get good coaches to actually show him how to hit. Maybe go to the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers, but he'll learn how to hit better there. Their coaches seem to care more about how to play the game than the analytics, and he won't have to be compared to a ghost anymore. To a one-of-a-kind player, a once-in-a-generation player. So, good luck, Volpe. I'm pulling for you, kid. I never hated the guy. I just thought he stunk. He's going to be average at best. And it's not right to put him in, he's folding under the pressure. You put him under this immense microscope and this immense pressure, and he's the Titan submersible right now. Just imploding. Doesn't deserve that. He wasn't ready for that. And he probably knows he wasn't ready for that. So, give the kid a break. Get him a different bat. Go back to a regular bat. Bunt. Get hit by a pitch. Take a couple days off. Go get a slump buster, if you will. And I would, if I were you. A couple of them. Anyway. Let's get into the good stuff finally, folks. We'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Courageous Clydesdale's Trauma Rehab Center. If you've ever been kicked in the head by a horse, or even just experienced all the same symptoms of someone who's been kicked in the head by a horse, you may be suffering from an acute case of horsehead. Your brain feels like mush, You don't have the ability to socialize normally with your friends or family anymore. And you can't do simple functions like take a test or plan a family get together, and you have no idea why. Well, now you can finally get the treatment you deserve at Tony Rigatoni's own Courageous Clydesdale's Trauma Rehab Center. At the Clydesdale Center, patients receive only the best care any non licensed medical professional like Tony can provide. You'll complete his 2-week boot camp style rehab regimen, and before you know it, you'll be functioning like a normal human instead of a weirdo serial killer in no time. So if you feel like you're suffering from horsehead and want to schedule an appointment today, visit www.stablestables.com, and if you use the promo code Secretariat Syndrome, you'll get 29% off your 2-week stay. I got a quick rant about this. I gotta get through the Cage fact because then I don't want to go off, and forget about the Cage fact. So the Cage fact. The movie The Surfer, he did the movie The Surfer Australia, all that. We talked about it. He actually took surfing lessons so that he can do some of the surfing action in the movie. They said he would go out there, practice before scenes and stuff with an instructor, a local instructor out there, and within the first 2 hours, he was able to stand up and surf again, full on by himself. And during an interview, come to find out, he actually surfed before. This is not his first time. What do they call it? Not crushing waves, but riding spirals. What do they call those cones? Like the cones, the tubes. The cool guys they had the nickname for what the wave looks like. I don't know. But he's done it before. He actually surfed before with legendary pro surfer Kelly Slater. And he talked about a story of one time he got crushed by a wave and then got caught in the riptide. Now, if you don't know anything about riptides, they'll get you. It's the undertow, where the wave crashes and then the energy has to come back so that the another wave can set up. That's how waves work. Just like this, if you're watching on YouTube and Spotify land. So a wave hits, then energy goes forward towards the shore, and then it gets sucked back by the riptide to generate more waves. That's, I guess, what the moon is supposedly doing, creating tides like that. The moon base up there, run by the aliens. So he gets caught. Sometimes the riptide is really strong, depending on the direct energy weapons they're using on the moon, I guess. And he got caught in a bad riptide, and they said they saw his board do the tombstone effect, which is a scary thing to see in the surfing world. Apparently, it's when they see the board stick up out of the water, looking like a tombstone, but there's no body because they're buried in that water, in that wave. And he said he climbed up on his cord that's connected to the board and his leg. He climbed up, grabbed onto the board, and safely made his way back to shore unscathed. But he said it was touch and go there, for he was down there for a while. And it's like the Widowmaker heart attack for men of a certain age, between 40 and 60 years old. Maybe it's like 50 to 65, that age range is a Widowmaker. Like the heart attack's like 80% chance you're dying from the Widowmaker. When you're tombstoning, you're in that sort of surfing Widowmaker stage where it's like, something bad's about to happen. And he survived it. And then he got rehacked his currencies for the movie. So I think there's a good amount of surfing that he's actually doing in the movie. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll keep you posted. But that's the Cage fact for you guys. Now, really quick rant here. No context, but this is just like a tip for you guys. If you know somebody, if there's somebody in your life, a friend, family member, acquaintance, you're telling other people about it. You're not shit talking them. You're telling other people about them. This is my friend Joe McNutsack, and then you're describing them, things about them. If they got kicked in the head by a horse at any point in their life, if they have horse head, you lead with that. You lead with horse head. That is the first thing you tell people when you're describing your friend or family member. Always. That's the lead. Hey, this is my brother, Joe McNutsack. He's got horse head. He got kicked in the head by a horse. And then you could go on describing, like, he likes the beach. He likes coloring. He doesn't talk much. You know, he jogs. Like, anything else about that person comes after horsehead. All of it. They cured cancer after horsehead. They're actually the front runner to become the next president. This guy killed bin Laden. All of that is after horsehead. Okay? Because all that stuff about that person, if you're describing them in the present time, all that stuff that is currently going on with them to describe them, all that is because of their horse head. Directly or indirectly. Okay? Think about Christopher Reeves for a second. Superman. You don't say to people, hey, this is Christopher Reeves. He played Superman. And then tell him, oh, he fell off a horse and now he's a quadriplegic. Like, he's not that's not Superman. That's like, hey, this is Christopher Reeves. He fell off a horse. He's a quadriplegic. He used to be Superman, but he obviously is not anymore. Horsehead always comes first. Hey, this is Buzz Aldrin. He's got horsehead. Second person on the moon. That's how it goes. He got horsehead, and he ended up becoming an astronaut because of it. Everything else is because of it, or a symptom of it. All right? And yeah, it should. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but anything else is burying the lead, and you can't bury. That's a lead you can't bury. That lead is tombstoning out of the ground. You can't bury it. There's going to be a little horse sticking out of the ground when you're trying to describe this person. Look at the movie Forrest Gump. Okay? Imagine that entire movie. You're watching you're seeing all this stuff. He's talking to the people on the park bench. He's running the entire country. He's saving Lieutenant Dan. He's getting the Medal of Honor. He's meeting Richard Nixon. He's got to go pee with JFK. He's doing all this stuff. And then at the end of the movie, there's a little cut scene where his mom's at the doctor's office with him, and he's slow. He's got something right. He's got horse head and polio. It would have none of the movie would have made sense. It would have been why this guy, okay, cool, this guy just happens to be in all these cool places at the same time. No. Forrest Gump had horse head and polio at the same time. And then he was able to accomplish all these crazy, world-changing things. And that's what makes the movie so good, is because they didn't bury the lead. Now, he didn't get kicked physically in the head by a horse, but he's got horse head. That's what it is. And the whole movie is contingent upon that. Everything about it is like, oh, this is so much better now that I know that this is Horsehead guy running back kickoffs in Alabama for touchdowns and still running through the stadium because he has to be told to stop running. Or he's dragging out 12 bodies in Vietnam even though he got shot in the buttocks. Or he becomes a ping pong champion. Like, that's all because of Horsehead. You know it. It's all more significant because of that. You don't bury that lead. Okay? That's the descriptor of your friend or family member or a star or anything. Anything. They have Horsehead. Oh, got it. Everything else will make sense after. If you say anything else before, you're creating an unnecessary investigation of the profile of this person. Oh, this person is like crazy good at math, but they can't speak English. They were born here and they don't know any other, like, they only know Italian, but they never been to Italy or spoke to an Italian before. And they're awesome at math. Oh, that's weird. I wonder what's going on there. Oh, they also can juggle 6 soccer balls at the same time. Whoa. How are they able to do all that, but they can't speak English? Yeah, we tried to teach them English and they can't even learn. It's not even register. And I wonder why that is. Let's figure this out. What's going on there? They also got kicked in the head when he was 4. Stopped talking after that. That's it. That's why. It shook the brain up and it rewired some circuitry in there, and now they're a savant. And some of the stuff turned off. Just like the juggling 6 soccer balls is normally off, that kick, that Horsehead, turned that on, but turned off the English light. Like, it all makes sense now. You don't bury that lead. Horsehead's always first. It's always first. It'll explain it all. Never bury the Horsehead lead. Ever. It will make for a funny story if you do that on purpose. You tell all these things about someone. Oh, yeah, they can't move their right thumb. They don't know how to respond to hello, how you doing? They just start talking about the War of 1812. Every time they hear the words how you doing, they start talking about the War of 1812. And you're just sitting, you're watching. Maybe that's a dirty trick, a dastardly trick you could do with your pals. And you tell them, yeah, he attracts electricity. If he touches the wall near an electrical socket, he can affect the electrical socket. Everyone's like, what the hell is going on with this guy? And you're sitting there, you know it's coming. You know it's coming. Oh, he also got kicked in the head by Clydesdale. It smashed his skull in half, and they had to piece it together with fiberglass. Now he attracts electricity. Yeah, got it. It all makes sense. Horsehead's the lead. That's all I'm saying about that. I guess we'll move it over to the Junction. We'll spin the logo up. I had a tremendous trip, third wheeling with the Wet Cat and Mrs. Wet Cat to Europe. We went to South France for a couple days. Then we went to Italy, the motherland. Now, I don't want to go into too much and bore you to death with crap because, I bore you to death with other crap like Horsehead stuff. But hand up, I did not care initially when the decision was made to start in France. I think I've been on record many times where I said the only thing I would ever want to see in France is anything related to D-Day, Normandy Beach, the cemeteries. That's it. Everything else, I could take it or leave it. Not that I hate it. My interest wasn't there. I don't know why. My interest in France is World War II related. So when the suggestion was made and the decision was made, like we're gonna start in South France, French Riviera, go over to Monaco to see what the Richies are doing, and then we're gonna go down to Italy to Rome. I was like, okay, I'll tough it out in France for a couple days, and then whatever, go to the motherland. South France, the French Riviera, Nice, Monaco. What was the other place we went to? Isa. Somebody who's French can help me on that. Tremendous, 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 tremendous. I had a surprisingly good time. In fact, and when we were getting ready to leave, at the end of it, I was like, man, I could stay here a few more days. Surprisingly great. We got there on a busy time. There was a whole bunch of like presidents and politicians there for some oceanic conference that is basically a glorified rally. That so you know I don't care about that crap. But it was a little busy because I had a lot of cops and stuff. But it was a nice little beach area, great food, a nice little old town to go spend some time in. We didn't go into the rural areas, the suburbs areas where there's no, tourist stuff per se. Um, I guess there's nothing there but just apartments and houses, so there's really no reason to go there. But really lovely area. Great center point if you want to go check out places along the Riviera. Cheap flights in there. You could go to Cannes or Cannes or however it's pronounced, just to the west. That's where the film festivals are. That's where all the Richies in Hollywood go for their shit. Then you could go to the east to Monaco, which is where all the Richies go. I think 40% of the residents of Monaco are millionaires. That's absurd. I think it's the densest population of millionaires in the world. 40% of almost half the country, half of that country, it is technically a country, is rich. The top 1%, 0.1% really. So we got to go check that out. We drove the tour guide that we had or whatever. The lady was glorified Uber driver, like a tour, like a driving tour, and then she would drop us off to go, uh, you know, adventure out on her own for a few hours. She drove the exact the track for F1 that happens in Monaco. And there was still remnants of the race still there because it happened a few weeks prior. So that was very cool. I got a couple of pictures of that, but we were in the car, so it was kind of tough. But did get the starting line and some of the stands and stuff. And then we took a quick glimpse over at the Monte Carlo Casino, which we wanted to go put some money down, but they have actual like hours of operation for the casino portion, which I thought was kind of odd, but I guess better so that you're not promoting degenerate gambling. Because we were there at, 12 in the afternoon, ready to gamble all our money away. And thankfully it was closed. We got to go inside the lobby though and see some stuff. There was some really nice watches, really nice timepieces that were only like 400 euros that they were putting out on a display outside one of the shops inside the casino. I almost got one for myself and my brother because we like watches. We're big fans of timepieces, and these were affordable. But I think it still wouldn't have been financially sound to me to do that, and B, these were not. That's what they were doing it for. That's why they put those out on display. It seemed like hey, what these tourists think they're getting, Monaco's finest timepieces, or just like all the Richies do. But this is the absolute bottom of the barrel when it comes to quality of watch for us. And they're probably marked that up to make it seem like, oh, but it's not $20 watch. It's not a Swatch. So it's still good. It's still top quality for you pauper. So I didn't do it. They looked nice. I don't know how well they functioned. but they certainly look nice. So I'm just going to wait until I'm rich enough to just afford one of the regular watches there and do it that way. So, and then we hopped over to Italy and had a tremendous time. Very touristy, like crowded where we were for the most part, which is whatever. It's June, it's tourist time, and it's also Jubilee for all the Catholics out there. The big Catholics know what I'm talking about, Jubilee. So the Vatican was mobbed. Jubilee happens every, I don't know, 10 or so years, but every 25 years is when the holy doors open, apparently. If you're a hardcore Catholic, I didn't know about this. There are four holy doors all in Rome. The four holy doors in the world are all in Rome. Shocker. They weren't in any of the Arabian areas where Jesus was from, or whatever. Uh, so these four holy doors, they only open once every 25 years, and of course they're open. One of them, at least one of them, was open now. St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, it was open. So the Vatican tour that we took, tremendous, by the way. Got great pictures of everything. Billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of art and sculptures and stuff in there. It's crazy what kind of money they're sitting on. It's got to be trillions, actually, of history there. Anyway, they were trying to be, accommodating. It's like, hey, this holy door of the basilica is only open once every 25 years, so we're going to have everybody enter through that door into the basilica, into the church, because it's a big deal. There's like some checklist, some holy checklist that you can do. This side quest as a Catholic, you go through the doors, and then you go into one portion of the basilica where you're crawling for a bit, and all these weird, again, side quests, and then you become enlightened or something like that. I don't know what it is, but one of the things you have to do is go through each of the holy doors. So they're doing it. Absolute chaos. I'm talking like thousands and thousands of people all clumped up, and they're just stuffing them through this one door. And you have to wait, too, because you have the guards. The Vatican guards are doing their rounds, so every once in a while they're crossing over, so they have to stop the door traffic for these guards to pass through, and they go, it's absolute madness. We sat outside. We were halfway through the tour. We had a good, nice little tour guide. Great lady. Halfway through the tour, we're in line to get through. Now, by the way, our lady, our tour guide, is barreling through people. She's truck sticking through people. She's got a little flag holding up so we know where she is. And she's not just like snaking around. She's just forearming people like an like Mike Allstott, Larry Zonka, just plowing through people in the NFL with their forearms. Brandon Jacobs back in his prime. That's what she was doing, knocking people over on their asses. And she's like, "Whoa, where's the rest of the tour? We're all back there. We just got in your wake. You gave me a concussion. You gave me horse head." We eventually caught up to her, but we stayed out there for it felt like an hour just in this cattle herd, this line to get through this damn holy door. But got the box checked. Only a couple more doors, a couple more side quests to go before we're enlightened. And we did get to see the basilica. We got to go down into the grottos underneath the basilica to see some of those. Those were pretty cool with the tombs and stuff. So, tremendous. I think my favorite was the Colosseum tour and the Roman Forum. We got the whole thing. We got to stand floor level in the arena. Got a bunch of good pictures from that. Our tour guide was an American from Pittsburgh. Went out to Rome for college, theology college, the same college that our current Pope from Chicago went to get his studies done, some of his studies. and he ended up staying there. Guy's been living in Rome for 27 years, full American accent, speaks Italian, but full American accent. And he gives these tours. He owns his own little touring company, and his son just started helping him out. We met his son. Forgot his name, Fabrizio or some shit. Gave a tremendous tour of the whole Roman Empire, essentially in that area. It was great, very cool. That's something I wish Sticks would have done. That's what I wish Nicky Sticks would have become because he's a history major. He wanted to be a history teacher, and I know he'll deny this to the day he dies, but he did it the wrong way. He majored in history. He didn't get his education degree. He didn't take his education test to become a certified teacher in, the praxis exams to become an actual teacher. He never went for his master's. He never like he just wanted to study history, so that's what he did. Um, he should have done that. He should have packed his bags and went over to Italy, had nice, like, legit pizzas every day. He's eating pizzas all the time anyway in college. He might as well have done it in Italy. He got real pizza instead of the fake crap at Papa John's. And then he could have been owning his own tour business. Found a nice Italian woman, and he would have been great at it. He knows all the history. He could have had a full conversation with our tour guide. I forgot his name. Damn, not Fabrizio. Richie? Nah, it's not Richie. I don't know. But that's what I kept thinking. I was like, man, I wish Sticks was here because maybe that would have given him the fire to go do this instead of, staying here, rotting in New Jersey. But great tour. It was a great learning experience and cool stuff was seen and had a good time. I think one of my favorite parts, that was my favorite tour for sure. I think one of my other favorite parts was the pasta making class we did. By the way, shout out to Mrs. Wet Cat Catwoman for setting all this stuff up. She created the itinerary for us, and we just had to show up, have a good time. And we made little fettuccinis. We made some ravioli. And then we made tiramisu, and then we got to eat it all. They made the sauces, and they gave us the recipes for the sauces. This is what I'm really excited about because there was this sauce that they made. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, and all the Americans who speak other languages that judge you for the pronunciations, they're going to care, and they're going to try to troll me for it, and I don't give a shit. But I believe it's pronounced amatriciana. Some people were saying calling it an Americana. It's not, but it's like this standard red sauce with like pork butt, chopped up pork butt, almost like bacon in it, but thick pieces of pork. It was delicious, delicious. They had that on the fettuccine, and then they had this nice little like butter type sauce, not pesto, but a buttery type sauce on the ravioli that we made and it was tremendous. And they had stations, individual stations, and they had the flour and the egg for each of us at our station. So we were making our own pasta, and nobody was dipping their fingies in my pasta. I was making it. I was rolling the dough. I was creating the dough. I was rolling it. I was flattening. I was kneading and flattening it out. I was slicing up those fettuccinis, and I was stuffing up those raviolis. And then I ate it, and it was al dente and delicious. And we also had a waiter with an American accent. In fact, I thought he was from Jersey. I stopped and I didn't say, "Are you from Jersey?" I just asked him more objectively, more open, like, "Hey, I gotta ask, where are you from?" And he said, "I'm born and raised in Rome." And with his Jersey accent, I was like, "Listen, guy, tell me what happened here." And he's like, "Well, the cheat code is my mother was born and raised in America, and that was that. Now I learned how to talk like she was probably from Jersey. I didn't ask him, but she was probably from Jersey. So a lot of American people out there working and living in Italy, which is enticing for me. to say the least. But then we went down to the south, did a ferry ride to Sorrento, which is near the Amalfi Coast in the southwest. And then we had dinner in Positano. We went to the restaurant that Sal the barber from Jersey always tells us about. That was the best. I think that was the best meal. And I wish I starved myself for a week before it so I could have eaten it all because it was family style. There's no menu. You sit, €60 per person. You get antipasto, macaroni, meat, dessert. Take it easy. And they just bring it out. And boy, did they bring it. They have to have a side table for all the plates that they're bringing out. And I got pictures of that stuff too. And man, was it good. And I did whatever I could to finish. We all did whatever we could to try to eat as much as we could, but we just got filled up. It was tremendous. That's where I wish the creature was there for sure because he would have definitely appreciated. I know Nikki Sticks would have appreciated it. Crusher, Bone Crusher would have loved it. Bonji loved it. All the whole gang, right up their alley. And that was really the only thing I requested for the whole trip was, hey, can we make a reservation for this place? And we made it. They made it happen. So I appreciated that. And then we spent a day in Sorrento. We spent the night in Naples only because our flight out was in Naples at the airport. But let me tell you something. Naples is the Philly of Italy. Rome is like the New York City. You could still have a great time and live and flourish in Rome, but there is the tourist trap areas of Rome that you don't want to be a part of if you can afford it. Just like New York. Like nobody, if you're from New York, what do they say? Don't go to Times Square. Don't waste your time in Times Square. Overpriced, trash, tourists. You don't want to hang out there. And then there's the good parts of Rome, like the good parts of New York and Rome. Like that's what I compare it to. Naples is Philly. It's Philly, Italy. Obviously, nice buildings, downtown area, but every building, and I mean every single building we drove by and saw for the 12 hours we were there, every single building had graffiti on it. Every single one. And it's just the seediest looking Ginzo characters hanging out outside of coffee shops and alleyways. Just dirt. They look dirty. They all looked just like they were all friends with the rats. And we ventured out stupidly, but we ventured out to go get the food and we stopped at forgot the name of it. It's called Antica Portalba, maybe. Probably butchered that one. But it is widely considered to be the very first official pizzeria in the world. Not necessarily the inventors of pizza, the actual item, but the first a pizza place, like the first shop, restaurant, store that made pizza for people to buy and eat. First pizzeria. That's what a pizzeria is. It opened up in like 1753. So this is before America was a thing. So you know it's old. So we wanted to go check it out, obviously. This is the first in the pizza game. Had to go check it out. So we were walking through a bunch of like weird alleyways, very seedy. And there was all these coffee shops that normally I would have stopped for a quick hit, a cappuccino or espresso. We did that the whole trip. We had pizza every single day. Every single day we had pizza and had coffee and dessert of some sort. At least I did. I was crushing cappuccinos the whole time. If I can snag a dessert, I would. Cannoli, ice cream, tiramisu, cakes, whatever it was. I was going to get dessert. and then coffee. So I would have there was plenty of times where I was like, man, I could go for a quick hit of something. Stop at a quick coffee shop, get an espresso, get a cappuccino, whatever. We're back on the road. I had a zero desire to stop at any of these shops based on the clientele just hanging outside of them. Just real, I don't even know how to describe it. Just real trash bin, like the bums of New York and New Jersey, the bum Guidos of New York and New Jersey. That, but the homeland version, the motherland version, like the OGs of bum Jersey Ginzos, just hanging out, ripping cigs, ripping heaters, causing trouble. I don't know how their businesses stay afloat. No, I can't imagine anyone would want to go in there. I guess they're the ones keeping the businesses open. I don't know. We kept moving. We got a nice meal. Headed back. Seedy. Head on a swivel. There was several areas where people were in like church, the front of church steps. The churches were full of graffiti. And then these guys were like playing dice and weird card games for cash and seedy stuff. Okay? Philly. It's Philly. Now, I love Philly. Delco trash all the way. You know it. But it's trash. Philly's trash. We all know it. They love it. That's what makes them great. That's what makes them so authentic and so Philly is that like, hey, we're trash and we know it. Everybody hates us and we don't care. That's Naples. Naples is Philly. We're all Napolitan. Everybody hates us. We don't care. We're trash. Come to find out, the exact area that we happened to walk to and from that restaurant was, according to the internets, the safest part of town in Naples. And we thought it was the dregs of society. I was like, thank God we didn't go to any other part of Naples. Like, what the hell does the rest of it look like? If we had all these freaks and slackjaws, it looked like Mad Max, Italy version. So, well, we made it out okay. No, no real injuries there, physically anyway. Now we flew home. And that was that. There's so many other stories and things that I could discuss and talk about, but it was a great trip, exhausting, got a lot of steps in, but my brain was shut off from the troubles of the world, if you will, of the LPDS universe, the things I have to do still, the things I need to do, I want to do for work and the business and all that stuff. I got to turn that off and take some respite. I got to hit the vault, if you will, to get some respite from all that, and that was much needed. And I am now in the very early research and development stages of how can I do this more often on a more regular basis, more permanent basis, i.e. maybe split in time. Now, that's early stages, but that was such a nice break and a lifestyle that I could thrive in, that it's something to consider. So we'll see years down the road. I have to be making serious cash to be able to do it the way I want to do it. And I will do it. I guess that's the bottom line. I'm putting out in the ether now that I will one day soon be able to split my time between wherever I want here in the U.S. to my house in Italy, probably on the coast somewhere, drinking a cappuccino or a limoncello spritz. That's the drink of the summer, by the way, folks. If you haven't heard it yet, everyone was talking about Aperol spritzes last year. Those were a bit overrated, in my opinion. I don't mind them, but the way they were talked about and propped up, you know what it was? I think I mentioned it. Maybe I don't know if I mentioned it on a previous episode or what. You know how we were talking about IPAs and the whole connection between SSRI users and IPAs with the bitterness and stuff like that? That's Aperol Spritz. The same people that propped up IPAs propped up Aperol spritzes when it was trending the last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was the hot drink, because it's bitter and it looks like it should taste better, but it just doesn't. Like, it's okay. But the limoncello spritz is exactly what you wanted from an Aperol spritz. Okay? It's a light drink. You can suck them down quickly and frequently, and it was also sweet and tasty. Like an alcoholic Sprite almost. That's what when you saw an Aperol spritz, you looked at that, you're like, oh, I want a little fruity sweetness to that, and it was bitter. Didn't hit nearly as well. But people liked it, because of the SSRI conspiracy theory, like the IPAs, and then people who pretended to like it because it was a cool thing to do, cool thing to like. Oh, you got to try an Aperol Spritz. Aperol Spritz are the best. Limoncello Spritz. That is the drink of the summer. Some might say the Sardi Spritz is gonna be a close second. It might be. It's also a delicious spritz drink that Americans can take from Europe and bastardize and ruin back here in the States. Possibly. But limoncello spritz is the drink of the summer. There's going to be too many influencers from America, hot chicks with their big booties hanging out, which I love. You know that. They're going to go over there to Italy or anywhere in the Mediterranean, Europe. And they're going to get their hands on a limoncello spritz, and it's going to be all over. They're going to post about it. There's going to be TikToks. There's going to be Instagram Reels. There's going to be stories. There's going to be chicks wearing floss as bathing suits, drinking these, getting 1 million likes from anybody from 12-year-old boys up to 70-year-old men who have that weird picture as their profile picture of them looking down at the camera like this, with their chin tucked in, and that's how they take a picture because their phone is down below them. That's their profile picture. They're all going to comment on these videos of these hot chicks with their butts out and side boob drinking these limoncellos. That's the drink of the summer. They're going to bring it back. I'm telling you, that's going to be it. And there was a bunch of American tourists in Sorrento and Positano. I know this because when I was doing the swipes, doing my outdoor cat stuff, most of the people on the swipes were tourists, Americans, just visiting for the week, just like me. I didn't like that from the swiping side of the house. I wanted to swipe on homegrowns. That's another reason why I want to go out there is find a nice Italian woman. Finally make my parents proud for something, for a change. But certain portions were too touristy, too many Americans. So they're already spritzing up. And it's only a matter of time before they ship that over to get Americans on it. So I know that if you're a bar listening, if you're a bartender or you own a bar, start buying limoncello, start learning the recipe, bring it. I'm telling you, you're going to make a killing off of this. People are going to start asking about it. Okay? Look at what happened to espresso martinis. I don't even know if those are Italian, like in origin. But that's what's going to happen. You're going to have stations in every bar that you can pump out limoncello spritzes. So start now. Get ready for it now. It's going to happen. They're already out there. I did not like that many American women in Italy when I was trying to swipe and do outdoor cat stuff. Find a wife. Didn't like that. Americans don't like me. American women don't like me. I'm an acquired taste. I don't even want to say Aperol Spritz of American men, but that's what I'm, an acquired taste. I'm not that because that became popular, and that ain't me. But I relate more to European women for some reason. I like that. I like that lifestyle better. I want to combine the best of the American family unit and the European, the Italian. I want to combine the best of both worlds. I don't want I and I want to try to eliminate the worst of both worlds because they can get a little too traditional over there, and I think that's what the women are used to, fortunately, unfortunately. I don't want to sit there and demand that they cook me every meal and they do all the cleaning and I just go out and make them. No, no, no. I like cooking. I want to cook. So I want to add the goods of both and combine forces. So I was not a fan of this of the touristy area swipages going on because Americans don't like me. Nobody swiped back. I still swiped on them like an idiot. I still swiped on them. I still wasted right swipes on them like a drug. It's like a drug. The right swipe has become a drug. In fact, I deleted my apps. I deleted my apps until I can figure out a more solidified plan to get myself over there more often, or how I can contact them. I need to write. I need to become pen pals with one of them, so I can write love letters, old school styles, learn Italian, figure it all out. But I was still right swiping on it, and they were not swiping on me. Shocker. The American women don't like me. And you know what? That's fine. But get out of the way. Let me swipe on what I came to swipe on next time. God forbid I talk to anyone in real life, but that's a future therapy session. Anyway, that's all I had to say about that. There's a ton that I could, like I said, I could talk about. I'm already forgetting some stuff. I'll post some pictures on the social medias so you can enjoy it if you like that sort of stuff. I'll try to keep it, of the scenery and the food and stuff, and not so much of me because people don't care about, the me monsters of the world. So, yeah, it's just a tremendous trip. Again, it's one of those. It did two things. One, it reminded me of like you can't do this once every decade. You have to do that. You have to find a way to do this more often. So it's more motivation for me to really explode Spearhead, so to speak, and get that thing a tremendous success financially as well as impacting others, so that I could do this as often as possible, and also make it easy for me to be able to do it. Like I don't have to worry about storing my dog in cargo. I could just take a private jet over there, stuff like that. Um, so it reminded me like you can't just do this once every. It has to be a regular thing. So much regular that it's like you should probably just split your time there. I just love it so much. The second thing was what was the second thing? Oh, it just when I got back, as happy and content as I am with my life, my purpose has not been realized yet. Like because I got back and I think you don't get depressed, but it's almost like I have I have responsibilities here. I don't, a lot of them are self-induced, and I don't like that. And I know vacation does that to people because you don't have it. Those responsibilities are all on hold when you're on vacation. And they always warn you in real life, oh, you can't just be on vacation forever. You can. If you create that financial exit velocity in your life, that financial freedom, those responsibilities are gone. You can farm them out. And then you have to make sure, obviously, you're doing things in your life that is satisfying those innate human instinctual cravings of stress and strife and conflict, breaking out of your comfort zone and stuff, because that's what happens when you get rich. You know how they say money doesn't buy happiness? That's because people get rich and then they create problems in their life, just rich people problems, champagne problems. That's what they call them. Because that's our human nature to do that. So you have to go, make sure I gotta make sure I'm working out, gotta make sure I'm breaking the mental sweat, following the big three. It's gonna keep you grounded so that you do have more of a vacation throughout your life as opposed to not. So that's what it did. It really just motivated me to become, financially free enough to be able to do that more often and eliminate the self-induced responsibilities and stresses and strifes that I have going on right now. So great trip. Loved it. I am appreciative of the Wet Cat and Mrs. Wet Cat let me third wheel like that. There was supposed to be more of us going, but leave and work schedules conflicted, and it ended up being a third wheel situation. So I just slept in the cuck chair like the whole trip. It was great. I loved it. They seemed to be tolerant of it, so I appreciate that. And it was just a great trip. Look, I'll say this one more quick thing for people. I don't want to give out bad advice, but go on the trip. Don't be stupid. Don't buy first class tickets and suites and put yourself in default, and you lose your house and home and your relationships suffer because of it. But I was not in a financial position to be making a trip like this. It wasn't financially smart for the timing. But it had to be done as a reminder for all the things we just talked about. So if you're in a position where you're not going to financially cripple yourself forever, and you're in that kind of limbo state of, yeah, I mean, we can make it work, but it'd be really tough to make work financially, and we have to pull some strings to happen. It's going to be a pain in the ass to have it, to all come together. Go through the pain in the ass. Do it. Okay? Because you're never going to be on your deathbed thinking, man, I really should have delayed that once-in-a-lifetime trip with my family or with friends. I should have worked more then instead. Should have put in double hours at the office. You're never going to be doing that. I'll tell you what you will be doing. Man, I wish I did go on that trip that my friends invited me to. It said I worked. And guess what? I ended up in the same place, deathbed. So that's all I got for today, folks. Before we go, very quickly, the big three, the three pillars of staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, less stressed, more genuine human being, being able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Number one, exercise every day. Do something to improve your fitness and health physically, mentally, or emotionally. One thing each day. Number two, don't be a shitty person. Be a kind person. Get out of the negativity. When the opportunity arises to be negative or shitty, or to have a negative outlook on things even, or respond shittily to somebody, or even initiate a post on your Instagram just to stir up controversy, take the LPDS step back, detach from those negative emotions, and remove yourself from the situation altogether. That way you're minimizing the negativity and shit in the world, and you're allowing yourself the ability to go focus on more positive, productive things like exercising. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. Because you never know when they're going to be gone. And you can do this by just thinking about one good thing right now, actively taking the time to think about one good thing in your life and what your life would be like without that. How shitty it would be. That will immediately put you in the state of gratitude. And the more often you're in that state of gratitude, the less often you're going to be in that state of negativity and spiraling and being shitty. And the more opportunity you have to go do positive, productive things with yourselves, like exercising every single day. So you do these three things each and every day, a little bit, each and every day. Follow the process, follow the big three, a little bit. I promise you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Put your notifications on. Tell your friends and enemy. Hit the hotline, 202-670-1114. Haven't gotten calls in a little bit. I know everyone's been busy on vacations and doing their own thing with their family. School's out, so got the kids all the time. I get it. But if you have the time and the inclination, hit that hotline, 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.